So today, let us explore the topic of the perfection of evolution. It's a kind of a common misconception amongst spiritually inclined individuals that they have to be this ideal version of perfect, and that perfection is a certain set of rules and ideals that they must adhere to and they must embody in all moments. But what I want to put to you is that the process of evolution itself is perfection, and evolution can't not be messy. The only way to evolve is to come up against challenges, to make choices, to try things, to reap the consequences of the choices that you make, be them positive or negative, and then to look for the opportunity to grow and to be transformed as a result of the experiences that have been had. So rather than perfection being this ideal state of bliss where you're right all of the time or you're good all of the time, which is a very sterile kind of environment and idea and concept of perfection. Perfection instead is growth. It's visceral, it's tangible, it's messy, it's trying things, it's making mistakes, it's sometimes getting things right, it's exploratory, it's fertile, and it's messy. And that process of evolution in and of itself is what I would deem perfect. The forward motion, as long as you're growing and you're learning and you're looking for new opportunities to grow, to learn, to become more like God, then you're on track. Don't be afraid to act and to try things. So we're going to be reading from my book, Healing, Wholeness and God Realisation, our next chapter, which is appropriately titled, The Perfection of the Act of Evolution. Perfection is not perfect performance as measured by some humans or souls' rigid set of standards. There is no one way to be or to behave. There is the ideal expression of the spirit which resides in you, and there is the ideal embodiment of the physical, natural self, and perfection is the pursuit of this ideal expression and seamless unity. Perfection is not the destination, is not the flawless execution of spiritual performance. Perfection is not the act of always getting everything right. After all, what is right? Perfection does not demand that you be the ascended master now, never ever causing harm, in a state of perfect nirvana. The concept of nirvana is a crime against evolution. Nirvana suggests a perfect state of bliss where all is serene and lovely and kind and squeaky clean. Nirvana is a sterile environment where evolution, where the curious flow of life itself, goes to die. There is no such perfect state. To wish for an existence of eternal bliss in a heavenly realm is to wish death upon the indwelling, ever-evolving spirit. Perfection is not a stagnant state of attainment. It is not pure bliss. It is not absolute. It is not acting according to some ideal list of allowed behaviour. Perfection is evolution itself. Perfection is the state of constantly becoming, of continuous unfoldment. Perfection is aligning the self in the direction of the ideal as presently sensed, and then seeking that ideal through activity. All of life seeks to evolve, seeks to change, to deepen, to realize, to transform. Perfection is the absolute embracement of this journey of realization and transformation. It is the act of tracking towards God consciousness, seeking out synthesis and undertaking a merging of the spiritual self with the form self. It is forward motion. It is exploration. A heavenly state of bliss or nirvana provides no opportunity or impetus for growth. There is neither reason nor means to evolve. There are no challenges, no temptations. There is no uniqueness in quality of character and interests. There is no diversity, and there is no opportunity to choose anything other than a limited and stale form of love. God is love in action. We are endowed with free will so that we can choose. Evolution can only happen when there is a choice, when there is opposition, when there is temptation, when there is evil, evil being the antithesis to evolution, anything, nirvana included, which stops or stagnates or gets in the way of the realization and the unfoldment of the ideal. On all levels of reality, across all dimensional planes, there are trials to be overcome. Though of a nature which we cannot necessarily presently conceive, there is always the option, the choice, the impetus, a reason to evolve and to seek deeper enlightenment. There are always problems to solve, shortcomings to overcome, new realizations and depths of understanding to be sought, attained, and grown into. There is always something to push against, and there is always something to aspire to and to move towards. The push against provides the momentum to move towards. This is perfection. Perfection is the forward thrust, is the seeking, is the movement and the motion towards the ideal. It is attuning the faculties, the heart, the mind, the emotions, the psyche, the physical body to the ideal, seeking and asking for that ideal to be revealed, and then choosing to act and to bring yourself to life in such a way that more of this ideal can be realized. Again, perfection is not getting it right all of the time. Perfection is the act of seeking and becoming. Perfection is not just meditating upon the ideal, getting high on the ideal and blissing off into the ideal. Perfection is activity. It is the action of being here in the form world, consciously striving for and choosing to aim for that ideal, whilst allowing that ideal to evolve and to change, transforming itself as you are transformed in yourself. Perfection is the deliberate unfoldment. It is the act of realizing. If this is your goal and your orientation, then you must not be afraid to take action. You cannot fear failure if you are to truly progress. If you are earnestly seeking, then it is inevitable that you will sometimes get it wrong. You must not fear this. You must not use a fear of failure or of causing harm as an excuse to stay the same or to never really try. Evolution is in the effort. We learn much through ease and grace and simple joy, but we tend to learn our greatest, most transformative lessons through suffering, through having made a mistake. We do achieve our best growth by trying something and then reaping the consequences, oftentimes discovering that such an action is not one we wish to take again in the future. Reflect on your failures and allow their consequences to reverberate through you and to play upon the conscience in order to cause it to reawaken. This reawakening of the conscience is an essential piece in recognizing and being motivated by the God within. But do not waste time beating yourself up and losing confidence in yourself. There is no room for self-flagellation on the path of God realization. This self-flagellation serves no one. If you have made a mess, remember that you are responsible for harmonizing the effects of all of your energetic output, and you will be given the opportunity to set this energy right, to harmonize any harm caused. Trust that the opportunity will come. The universe is conscious and benevolent and is overseeing the karmic flows of choice and consequence. So you do not need to figure this out and make things right. Your job now is to get back on track. Come back to the heart. Waste no time and realign yourself with the ideal. Get back on the figurative horse and get back to trotting forward. Make amends where amends must be made. It is a narcissistic and self-indulgent ego which justifies its wrong behaviors to itself and to those who have been harmed, and then refuses to apologize. If you cause harm and you are truly open in your heart, then you will feel it. It will make you feel ill at ease. You may feel sick to your stomach. Your conscience will tell you that you caused harm and that you acted against your true nature. Do not ignore these messages or explain them away for any reason. Use the opportunity to develop deep and true humility. Own up to any mistakes made and welcome the consequences of your choices. For these consequences are perfectly designed to help you to learn a lesson and to realize God more deeply. Rejoice in the opportunity to admit wrongdoing and to humbly apologize for any harm caused, with a true commitment to transform yourself and not make the same mistake again. Perfection is not never making a mistake. Instead, perfection is not ever making the same mistake twice, because you truly learned and were changed when you made the mistake the first time. You must be productive and proactive in your approach. Make mess, clean it up, not begrudgingly, but with great joy and love for your fellow man and an earnest desire to learn and to become more of the ideal, to become closer to God. There is no use in wasting time placing the blame on others. This is victim consciousness. The soul and the natural self are never in victim consciousness. This is an activity of the negative ego. It is easy to blame another, to never take responsibility. It is easy when things are out of our control, random, forced on us by a God who exists outside of us, or by another individual, or by our unruly and misbehaving physical body. Victim consciousness is child's play. It is what keeps humanity disempowered and all too willing to be led astray. Sure, it is simpler to be a victim. You are born with a certain set of DNA which is out of your control. You are born into certain ecological and societal circumstances which are beyond your control. You blame your family or your upbringing for what is wrong with you as an adult. You wake, you eat, you work, you go to sleep. You go to school, you get a degree or a trade, you have a family, and then you pass your time until you die. The government or your religion tells you what to do. You never really have to think for yourself. You can numb out your feelings and your intuitions. You can push out with your mental body to keep the soul's guidance and impetus for growth held at bay. You can live your life sleepwalking. It can be challenging to be conscious. To be awake can be painful. You can no longer ignore how you feel. Your conscience lets you know when you have caused harm. You feel dissatisfied with a sleeping life. You question the government. You become aware of corruptions in the institutions that you are told to trust. You see hypocrisy and inconsistencies in your place of worship. You wake up to a truth that you can't ignore. You feel separated, lonely, and isolated in your state of wakefulness. It may seem like there is nobody else like you. You may wish that you could go back to the ease of being unconscious. Look how happy they are, how easy their lives are in their sleepwalking state. You may experience an existential crisis or two, and then question the meaning and the purpose of everything. You may undertake a dark night of the soul as the glaring differences between your human and your soul realities become known to you. You may feel lost, in between, unsure, unclear about the way forward. You may become aware of the pain which you have numbed out and refused to previously feel. You will become aware of your shortcomings. You will feel unwell when you are off track. but in the chaos of unbecoming, you may not be certain of which track is the right one for you. You will throw away your old beliefs, but you may not know what your new beliefs are. You may spend a time in between, stumbling forward in the apparent darkness, with none of your old vices, your old safety nets to prop you up and to cause you to feel safe and secure again. To be awake, to be on the path of God realization can and will at times be painful and confronting. To take responsibility for yourself and your thoughts and your life and your evolution can be a deeply and profoundly challenging thing. But once the soul has made contact with the physical self and has begun its descent into the form world, it is very difficult to return to a state of unconsciousness. To do so, you would need to put a great amount of energy into deliberately working against your soul, forcefully switching your conscience back off, which causes much long-term damage and difficulty the next time your conscience attempts to reawaken. You would need to force out of your mind and your heart what the soul has revealed to you, reasserting the power of the dominating human mind and thickening the callus which has been built around the heart. The soul, the God within, seeks to help you to heal. It seeks to bring you into its reality. It seeks to open your mind to the mind of God and seeks to tenderize and open your heart so that it can become the fountain of love that it is intended to be. This process can be confronting and certainly at times challenging. But to take responsibility in this way is to be empowered and is to bring forth an experience of reality far more satisfying, nurturing, true and productive than anything that the ego or the disempowering institutions can give you. To reclaim your power and to take back the reins of responsibility can be scary, but to do so is to evolve and to begin to reawaken to the God within, something which is so much more profound and far-reaching will take up residence. To be conscious, to be seeking perfection, to be learning how to navigate according to the God within, to surrender the heart and the mind to the soul and spirit aspects of the self is the feeling of coming home. And in amongst the trials of relinquishing victim consciousness, this feeling of returning home, of coming to truly know the self, is a great and constant support. Some of your learning will indeed be through suffering, but again, I put to you that much can be learned through adversity. True evolution happens through the facing and the overcoming of that which blocks, prevents, or limits evolution, overcoming that which keeps you stagnant, stuck, and small. You must face and overcome your deepest challenges and shortcomings. Embrace the consequences of the choices that you have made, your karma, and steadfastly choose to look for the learning and the opportunities to evolve and to be transformed through hardship. Remember that the universe is benevolent, that the soul seeks evolution through you, and that your life and circumstances are always perfectly designed and geared towards your evolution and transformation. In every situation, in all phenomena, in every big emotion, in every thought, and through every crisis of faith is the inbuilt opportunity to realize and to awaken more deeply, to welcome more of God into your being. Search always for the ideal. Seek always the opportunity which is being afforded you. What is the soul's intent? Why do you create this situation? What do you seek to learn? What truth are you ready to embrace? Which quality of God seeks to be made known and to be embodied by you? Search for the divine intention in all things and embrace the inevitable, intended transformation. Once you are aware, Align your heart to consciously evolving and bringing through the love of the soul. Embrace your conscious transformation and choose to know the benevolence of the universe and the God within. You are not alone. Do not be afraid to try. Act. Perfection is the process of discovery and of becoming. It is love exploring, love in motion. More and more, set aside the negative ego and allow the God within to guide you. Don't be afraid of the trials and the hardships of awakening. It's worth it. So that's all for today. And our next chapter will be discussing the topic of ascending descension, which is a unique and new, and I would say profound take on the process of ascension. It's different to what you think it is.